事実は小説よりも奇なりですね。
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Predicting Tranquility here in week 3 already. It just seems like we were back at the preseason just recently, but thank you all for staying up late here with us to get your prediction actions here in everything Tranquility. We'll be talking about every single match, all 36, going across all 3 tiers, and I am joined by my co-host tonight. I'm joined by Bowsy and by Navino. Bowsy, how are you doing with everything tonight?
I'm doing well, Booth. I'm really excited to get back into this. I felt like I had a good week last week. Only 7 wrong out of 36 matches. That's a really good record. But regardless, I think it's going to be an interesting week. There's a lot of matches to predict, and a lot of these are going to be up in the air. I feel like we're all going to have different opinions on these matches this week.
For sure. And Navino, I know you are incredibly hungry right now. You just had a very long Iris podcast. Thank you for staying up late tonight with us. But yeah, and also welcome to Predicting Tranquility, your first broadcast here with us.
It is. I'm excited. It'll be fun. I'm home with spicy hot takes, and I'm now eating my hot pockets with some classic ranch. Midwestern classic.
Mm-hmm.
Midwestern classic.
I just ran out of ranch, and I'm literally going to the store tomorrow just to get it. I understand. I understand the grind. Well, if you're new here to Predicting Tranquility, we're kind of taken over some of the parts we've done in the past with the Iris podcast. We have shifted all of our predictions towards this show, and we'll be going over them every week, right after the Iris podcast, of course. So us 3 hosts are going to go through our picks for all of the matches during the week. Each one of us will take a group, and we'll dive into it a little deeper. And then, of course, in the podcast discussion channel in the Discord server, there is a pinned link to a Google form that I created if you would like to join us in our weekly pick'em. I apologize, I don't have the scores up for tonight yet. I'm going to get those posted tomorrow, and then in our future broadcast, I'll be able to go over them a bit more live. And I will talk about our week 1, 2, and 3 predictions in the next broadcast to give some heads up to the people who predicted well those weeks and go over the scores. So be on the lookout for that. I apologize again, that's not up. Just we're getting close on it. I'm almost done with the code I need for it, but it's almost ready. But in the meantime, we're just gonna kind of jump right in onto this, and we're gonna jump right. I don't know if you see my cat. Yeah, you can kind of see there is a cat right here. I can't. I'm really bad at going backwards. There we go. Okay. Ooh, there she is. That's Cleo. Someone over there. You'll see her running around in the background a bit. Okay, we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna go into the Harmony tier. And we are going to start with RMA here with our featured match, actually. If Navino, you would like to break down Harmony RMA for us.
So really, we're all in pretty much agreement with the first game. None of us have Squall taking a map. That being said, after playing them, I really think they can, because I think Sky Guardians have some weak points that can be very exploited. But I think the winnable game is not this week for Squall, but versus 5 Breathing Rubber Duckies, personally. Then you have, the game that a lot of people talked about, which is Koala Kings versus Chrysalis. I have my boys winning 4-0 because, I'm biased, obviously. Bowsy has Chrysalis winning 3-2, and Booth has Koala winning 3-2. I think because we're kind of in the middle on that, I kind of want to maybe touch on that. What do you guys think? Why do you have it so close? I have my own reasons for having it as a roll, but why do you guys think it's going to be so close?
Booth, would you like to start, or you want me to start?
You go on ahead.
All right. Well, I have this so close, and I have it in the favor of Chrysalis, because not only do I think Chrysalis are one of the scariest teams right now and one of the most underrated teams, because they have such a stacked lineup all the way. The tank line is great. The DPS line, you have Retro, who is one of the best players on Strix last season, and you have Sep, who is blown out of the water here as a starting DPS. He started this season, so I think they're a scary-looking team. But also, one of my top 8 teams this season thus far is the Sky Guardians. Who is the only team that the Sky Guardians have lost to? Chrysalis. I think Chrysalis are going to make a run for this, and Koala Kings are going to have to prepare for it. I think it's going to be a close blood battle, and I think we're really excited to see who comes out on top of this.
I mean, looking at my prediction here, I have it as a 3-2, but I did do it pretty late last night. I don't know why I didn't go heavier in the favor of the Koala Kings, to be honest. I'm in the ground where you got to prove something to me, and it takes a lot to change my mind. The Koala Kings have proven themselves time and time again. They're still here. They did well in the preseason. They did well last season. It's going to be hard, even 2-0 records. I mean, whoever wins this is going to win the group. I mean, I think we're probably all in unison on that, at least on the side of RMA. But I mean, the 2-0 record speaks a lot to me. It's not enough to take over the Koala Kings, but I'm at least going to say it's a closer one. I'm not expecting it to be a blowout by any means. So I'm excited to see what happens across both of this. After this week, this is when we're going to kind of start to see the group shape up into what the playoff structure is going to be, the stage 2 structure is going to be. And in return, some of the playoff seedings, because your finish in stage 1 definitely has a pretty strong impact on that. We'll definitely touch on that more in the future. But that's going to kind of wrap up our RMA. We're going to go into B here, Bowsy. Oh,
we didn't talk about the last game.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Breathing Rubber Duckies. We're all in agreement. We have Strix winning 3-1. So nothing really to say there. I think we all get up. So now we go to Harmony.
Perfect Harmony. As we enter now, speaking of Harmony RMB. And starting off with our first match, the Luminous Foxes versus the Fighting Potatoes. Me and Navino are on the same page. We both think that the Luminous Foxes are going to be taking a victory, albeit with different map scores. Navino thinks it's going to be a sweep. I think that Fighting Potatoes are going to take up a map. Booth, however, thinks that the Potatoes are going to get their first victory of the season, winning 3-1 over the Foxes. All right, yep, he made his point there. Next up is Firefight versus Fahrenheit 972, a very fiery match coming into here. Navino thinks it's going to be a clean wash here for the Firefight. They're going to be able to take Fahrenheit 972 and extinguish those flames. However, me and Booth think that Fahrenheit 972 is going to continue to burn on and will beat Firefight. I apologize for all the fire puns. I really have just run myself
Keep it going. Here. Keep it going.
But regardless, me and Booth think that it's going to at least be a close battle. Firefight either taking 1 or 2 maps. So definitely a close match there, but we'll have to see what the results are. And then our final match, which actually I highlighted this in my notebook because I have a notebook. I use old standards. But Big Bang Buccaneers versus the Miami Yikes, the two undefeated teams in this group thus far. We all have different results, but each of us say that it's going to go to a map 5. Boof and Navino think that Big Bang Buccaneers will win that map 5, but I think the Miami Yikes are going to barely edge out the Big Bang Buccaneers. So we're going to have to see what happens there. It's going to be a close match.
Oh yeah, definitely the match to highlight in the group there. I mean, the 2-0s, we're starting to see obviously we're seeing the 2-0s this week because it's our third week, but now we're starting to see the teams that have been able to prove themselves by getting a couple of wins and really going to start shaping up how they're going to finish. I'm excited to see that one as well. But all right, let's move in to Indigo A here. I'm going to break us down to this group here a bit. So our first match with Phoenix Rising versus the Flashbacks, all of us in unison there. Navino giving Phoenix Rising at least a map, but all going in the side of the Flashbacks. Not too much to say there. It's hard to go against Flashbacks at any point in Tranquility as long as their reign has been going on. But as we go to our next match, we have the Vanguard Spartans against Frost Nova. Everybody going with Vanguard Spartans again. We heard a little bit of talk about them here on the podcast to see if they're one of the, I think it was the most improved team was the discussion they had going on.
Something like that.
Yeah, so Frost Nova has been doing great, but none of us think they're going to have enough yet here to upset the Spartans. I even strong enough to say a 4-0, but I also think it's going to be a little bit closer here. I believe so. Spartans have only dropped a few maps. Why do you think you're going with the 3-2 here?
So Frost Nova, they are a really tough team. I'll tell you this right now. Frost Nova, they did get their first victory last week against. Let me see if I can figure that team out. Give me a second here. It was up against Ragnarok Loki.
Yeah.
Which, sure, Ragnarok Loki is an 0-2 team right now. But that doesn't excuse the point that they beat Ragnarok Loki, and they really have been looking like a dominant powerhouse throughout the season. This is the team that joined in week 1, did lose to the Flashbacks, but recently did get that victory back due to some consequences, and then come back the next week and end up sweeping Ragnarok Loki. It was either a sweep or a 3-1.
3-1.
It was a 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Thank you, Navino. But yeah, it was a 3-1. But still, that's something to be feared. And this team, they do look like a team on the rise. They do look like they could be a valuable underdog. I am giving the edge here to Vanguard, however, because Vanguard, they have been looking strong all season. But I would not be surprised if Frost Nova took the upset here.
Navina, you're thinking it's going to stay with Vanguard here as well, but you're giving them at least a map. Is it similar thoughts there as Bowsy has for the team, or is there something just too special about Vanguard here?
So, honestly, again, like, as I said in the podcast, like, I just don't buy Vanguard as, like, a top-tier team currently. I do think, like, they're, like, better than that. Like, they're in the top 8. I agree with that. I just don't, like, I also rate Frost Nova decently high. Like, they have another marsupial alum in their tank line in Florida who I think can bring it back with them. So I'm pretty excited to, like, see the game. I do think Vanguard wins because I do think they're a better team. But in the common opponents, like, they both beat Loki in, like, a decently close game. So I think it's, like, it's up in the air what happens. Yeah, I'm with Vanguard just for, like, consistency and clutch factor.
There you go. And our last match here in Indigo A, we have Boop going against Ragnarok Loki. 1-3 here for the side of Ragnarok Loki on my side. A close 3-2 there for Bowsy, and Navino taking Boop in the win here. Both these teams so far have not had a victory yet, so one of the teams will be getting their first win. And a quick other discussion there on the group, we were mentioning how in our last match there with Vanguard, they'll be going up against Flashbacks in week 5. So that'll be an interesting one to tune into as well when we get close enough for that. That's really that might be a deciding factor in who ends up winning the group. So be on the lookout for that one. But that's going to wrap up our Indigo A here. We're going to send it back over to Navino now. He's going to finish up the Harmony tier for us.
All right, we're all in agreement with the Palm Beach Poggers Hades. We have Palm Beach winning 4-0. Top 3 team, probably, like, easily right now. They're just the better team right now. Modify. Yeah. I have a 4-0. Bowsy has a 4-0. Booth gives Modify a map. You know, Modify is an old brand. I can see giving him a map, but at the same time, I think Modify just look bad. Like, and I think Jetpack Cats is just too much 4-0 momentum right now. They've looked good. Josh looking good in the main tank. Yeah. Whatever. Then you have my boys, the Jersey Boys, versus Turbo Throwers. I have a 3-1, mostly because I think, even though, like, I'm a Jersey Boy fanboy, I think Turbo Throws have the ability to take a singular map, but I think Jersey Boys is a good team that will come out on top anyway. Really, like, unless you guys have something else to add, I think that really covers the group.
This is a very boring group because we all know the results pretty much.
Only 1 point different.
Yeah,
1 point difference. We all have a general idea of who's going to be winning these matches simply because of the other results of this tier. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Hades, obviously, they did lose last week to the Jersey Boys. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a map off the Palm Beach Poggers this week because obviously they are a new team. They weren't accustomed to Tranquility last week. If they were able to pick up some momentum, they might be able to pick up a map. Same goes for that second match. I wouldn't be surprised if Modify was able to bring it very close with the Jetpack Cats because we've only seen the Jetpack Cats once this week, and it was up against the Turbo Throwers, who are currently 0-2 with -8 map differentials. So anything goes this weekend for this team.
I didn't realize I hadn't won a map yet. Dang, I want to change my score now.
Well, so Navino, if you had to pick one, if you had to pick Hades, Modify, or Turbo Throws, which one has the best chance of getting the upset this week?
Can I go with none?
I'll go. You know what?
I'll go Modify. I'll go Modify. But if I'm being honest, probably none of them.
Probably none this week.
Yeah.
Well, maybe week 3, maybe not the best tier in Indigo B, but that's going to wrap up our Harmony tier predictions here. And now we're going to shift into the Discord tier. Bowsy, you want to take us into Discord RMA and break down these matches for us?
All right, so first match in Discord RMA, obviously SEAL Team Spuds versus Monarch. Monarch getting their first victory against Valkyrie last week, but all of us think that winning streak is going to end this weekend. This week, SEAL Team Spuds taking the victory. Boof is the only person who thinks it's going to be a sweep. Me and Navino think Monarch is going to be taking a map, so that's pretty interesting. Next up is our second match, Reckless Sigma versus Poseidon. Boof thinks it's going to be 3-1. Navino thinks it's going to be 3-2. I think it's going to be a sweep in favor of Reckless Sigma, but we all think it's going to be the same result. And our final match is Valkyrie versus Domination. Boof and I both think that Valkyrie is going to lose to the Domination brand, but Navino coming out with an interesting pick, thinking Valkyrie is going to win 3-1. That's definitely a divergence from what everybody else on this table
I had to pick an upset pick. You know, I'm so sad about not having an upset pick so far. This is my upset pick. This is
okay. That's fair. I'll give you the benefit of a doubt. Valkyrie definitely is an upset pick right now after losing to Monarch. So
I would say so.
It can go either way. Yeah.
I mean, you picked Monarch last week, Bowsy. I think I remember bringing that up. I was like, hey, this will be a big one if they get the win here.
Valkyrie I did indeed pick Monarch last week, which was a gutsy move, but I had a feeling in my gut that was going to happen. So glad it panned out well for me. Not so much for Valkyrie, but definitely going to be interesting heading into week 3, what Valkyrie is able to show, if they're going to be able to get a map win or if they're still going to have that struggle that I talked about last week.
Yeah, I need to get these wins here if they want to move on and get into higher winnings here in RMA, but that's going to round us out here, and I'm going to bring us in to RMB now. We have the Flying Lions versus, it says Domination. I apologize for that. I should say Mechanize. So I'm the only one that's giving it to the Cats here. 4-0 from Bowsy and Navino in favor of Mechanize. So definitely a little bit of an altering opinion there, but that's not the match I'm most excited about. I don't think anybody has to question what they think the match of the week is going to be here in the Discord tier, let alone in Discord and RMB, but in the Discord tier. And that is the Quokka Queens versus Reminiscence of the Giants 2-0 going head to head. All of us with 3 2s. We have Bowsy and myself giving that advantage to Reminiscence. Navino giving it to his own team of the Quokka Queens.
Shocking, I know.
We say shocking, but also like they're 2 fantastic teams. I don't think I think it's my match to watch for sure. I'm sure it's probably the same for everybody else. You could make an argument both ways, and I'd believe you. It just depends on who was talking the loudest. And then our third match in RMB is going to be Maelstrom versus the Inferno Foxes, both not having the best season here so far. All of us in unison, though, with the Inferno Foxes. I'm giving at least a map here over to Maelstrom with 4 O's on the other side.
I actually have an asterisk now because a known player to me, his name's Swifter, has played in League 0 with me. Really good player, solid player, is now, from what I heard, getting picked up by Inferno Foxes. So I actually think he's good enough to bring them kicking and screaming to beat Maelstrom. Even though I did have a predicted 4-0, it just it's
more solidified.
Inferno Foxes is just an enigma, to me. And I think that with Swifters, they can really bring that together. And Maelstrom has the same problem they had last season. They're kind of one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be the problem. Hopefully it doesn't continue here much so far, but we're gonna have to see how they do. But let's go into Indigo A here now in the Discord tier. Take it away, Navino.
So we're all in agreement of Excalibur being Chicago Chaos. I have a 4-0. Bowsy decided to give him a map. I just don't see it right now. Excalibur's looked really good. I talked to them on the podcast. They have people I know, and I think I trust in them to win. I'm excited to see the later matchups, but I don't think Chicago Chaos will challenge Excalibur. If they do, then my entire opinion of Excalibur kind of just dies.
Hey, tune in on Thursday for it. It's our featured match this week.
Thursday featured match. And then you have Redacted versus Ragnarok. I have 4-0 in favor of Ragnarok, while Bowsy has a game for Redacted, and then Booth has a 3-1 for Ragnarok. I'm interested to see this. I just don't see Redacted doing that well. Bowsy, I'll let you talk since you're the odd one out here.
I made this big brain prediction, and here's why. Redacted, according to this stat sheet that I made when I was debating my top 8, Redacted's 2 matches this season have been against, if I can find where their name is in here, there it is, have been against Excalibur and Lotus. In both of those matches, they have taken a map. Keep this in mind. Excalibur and Lotus, the 2 undefeated teams in this group right now, they have taken a map off of both of them. Ragnarok, on the other hand, they did get a win against the Chicago Chaos, which currently is an 0-2 team, but at the same time, they got swept by Lotus.
This is true.
If this performance keeps up, if Ragnarok does not get this sort of win here, then it's going to be big. I think this is going to be the closest match in this tier, in this group right now. This is going to be the closest match. And the reason I pick Redacted is because they look looking like a scary dark horse. If they can take a map off of the 2 undefeated teams in the tier right now, and not to mention they weren't all map 4s. I'm pretty sure against their recent match against Lotus, it was Control they took. The first map that they ended up taking over one of the most undefeated teams in this group right now. If they can keep this up, they're looking like a scary dark horse team. I would not count out Redacted in any shape or form. I know Ragnarok is a very famed org here in Tranquility, but do not count out Redacted. They have a chance.
We'll see. I'll put a disclaimer. If I don't know who's on your team, I probably will put a 4-0 in favor of the people I do know. Let's round it out with Lotus versus Wildfire. We're all in agreement 4-0 for Lotus. I think Lotus just looks like the favorite, and Wildfire's a new team. They took a map off Excalibur in garbage time, I want to say, the 4th map. So I just think Lotus is just a better team right now because I think Lotus is favored in this group with Excalibur challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think Wildfire is a pretty good team. We might be a little harsh with 3-4-0s, but we all put that for a reason. At the end of the day, I think that to me doesn't speak as much to Wildfire. It speaks more to Lotus and how strong they are.
I would agree.
Could make a big name for themselves here this week. But all right, Bowsy, you want to finish off the Discord tier for us by taking us into Indigo B?
Absolutely. So we start off in Indigo B with our first match, which is Paradise Lost versus the new team on the block, Ragnarok Freya, the 4th Ragnarok team here in the Overwatch Tranquility community. Obviously, this used to be V3 spot, but V3 ended up dropping out of the tournament, and now we have Ragnarok Freya. And to my surprise, everybody here on this desk thinks that Paradise Lost is going to take a 3-1 victory over Ragnarok Freya. It may just be because we don't have an idea of what Freya is like.
Yeah, I've no idea on that team, bro.
That's tough.
Yeah. For all we know, Freya could win this match, and we could all look like idiots. So we all do think that Paradise Lost is going to win as of right now. Next up is Echo Fleet versus Alt F4, and if you predicted Alt F4 to win this, then you were crazy. We all think it's Echo Fleet taking the 4-0 sweep over Alt F4. And our final match of this weekend is Mark III versus Holy Jalapenos. Just like before, we are all in agreement. We all think Mark III is going to take the victory. Booth, however, thinks that Holy Jalapenos is going to take a map off of Mark III. So there's definitely a lot of shakeup with these, with the first and third matches here in Discord Indigo B. That second match doesn't count. It's not a match.
The second one's gonna be tough. We gift the best to all that four, but Echo Fleet's a pretty good team. It's gonna be a tough one for me to get the win on there. Sorry to Ragnarok there. Don't have your logo yet, so you got the Tranquility logo this week, but I'll have it next week for you guys. All right, that's gonna finish up Discord tier here for us. Now we're gonna move into the Transcendence tier, and we're gonna start an RMA here. Our first matchup is gonna be the Council of Anime Girls versus Dirt. All of us in agreement on the victor of Dirt here. Scores varying a little bit, ranging all the way up and down as we basically could. I got the 4-0, 3-2 from Bowsy, 3-1 from Navino. It's primed to be a good one. Dirt really stood out to me in this last featured match. That happens a lot. If I end up producing your game, I end up liking your team a lot because I get to sit there and watch your players for a couple hours. But they were scary, man. They were a scary team to watch. Their DPS duo was just insane. I have a hard time seeing them dropping a map here. And then our second game is going to be the new team, Howl Tundra versus Corvidity. Both sitting at 0-2. Howl Tundra, of course, new. Corvidity, though, yet to pick up a map. I believe there was a forfeit first week. I could have that incorrect. But all of us going with Corvidity in the win here. 3-1s for Bowsy and myself, a 3-2 for Navino. Hard to predict this one. Don't know what to expect out of Howl Tundra yet. Corvidity being a well-standing team here in Tranquility. Probably all of us leaning towards that just because we know the team. And then our final matchup of the week, we have the top of the group, Devil Dukes, 2-0 versus Amnesia. And we have 3-2 going towards the Devil Dukes. But all of us giving credit to Amnesia here. This is definitely the match I'm most excited for this week. Amnesia had a very good second half of their featured match last week. They seemed like a different team coming out of halftime. The Rialto map was a blast to watch. Ended up not having Capital as well in that match. So if he's back this week, that'll definitely help them out. I think it's probably these two and Dirt are definitely the highest three in the group. It's going to be a bloodbath for that second place spot. But whoever ends up winning this one, probably going to be almost trying to solidify that first place spot for them. If Amnesia gets the win here, they're going to have to duke it out. The map differential against Dirt.
No pun intended.
That was pretty good, right? But if Devil Dukes win this, they've kind of solidified the group for themselves, Take them up 3-0. Middle 7 sitting really pretty going into stage 2. So, yeah, I'm watching out for that Amnesia Devil Dukes game. We all seem to be in pretty much the same idea here. So we're just going to keep rolling here into RMB. Navino, take it away here for us.
All right. We got Battalion versus Zeus. We all have Zeus winning, mostly because Battalion forfeited, and I don't know what the heck's going on with the roster. I think that's but I gave him 2 matches because I don't think Zeus looks very good either.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like, eh. Then we have Celestial Wind versus Platlaws. Bowsy and I have Celestial Wind winning. I think it's hard to predict against Celestial Wind after they beat Godhand. Obviously, Platlaws, have already lost a game this season. I just don't see them beating. Oh, wait, Celestial Wind really lose last week? Hold up. Did they? I thought they were 2-0.
No, I think Celestial Wind won last week. They won again.
Oh, okay, that's just wrong on the graphic. Okay.
Oh, yep, having that wrong then.
Yeah, they won against Battalion 4-0.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
it was not a forfeit. It was not a forfeit win, but it was a 4-0 victory.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the tournament might be wrong then. Okay, we'll get that updated.
So, but yeah, it was. I just think it's hard to predict against them. And then you have Godhand versus Manifest. Manifest doesn't really look the same since preseason. They're so I just think Godhand is just a better team right now. They're both 1-1, but Godhand just looks better to me.
Yeah. And I think you were talking about Battalion earlier. They did forfeit their first match, which was against Manifest, I think it was.
I think so. Yeah,
yes,
it was Manifest.
It probably was Manifest. And then last week they ended up playing against Celestial Wind. And I think the biggest problem is that recently they've gone through a roster change. Vix was removed from this roster as of recently, and they've had to try and find a new sort of synergy. Synergy means a lot in Transcendence tier. And if you don't have synergy, that can cost you games. So I think Battalion are going to take a little bit to be able to develop that synergy. They might make a late rush in this. They might be able to beat Zeus here, but I think it's going to be a while before we see Battalion back at the top.
Yep.
I think that's a fair statement. I think Vix had school as the reason he ended up leaving the team there, but
most likely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna jump it on over to Indigo A here in the Transcendence tier. Bowsy, go ahead.
All right, so first match is the SS Cuttlefish, the cutest logo in Trank versus Atlas Arcadia. Me and Navino both think that SS Cuttlefish is going to sweep Atlas Arcadia, while Booth does think that Atlas Arcadia will be getting a map off of the undefeated Cuttlefish. So definitely an interesting match there to watch. I'm interested to see what's going to happen there. Next up is Olympus versus Whirlwind Wildcats. And while Booth and Navino do think it's going to have some competition with the Wildcats, but currently Booth has 3-2, Navino has 3-1. I said that Olympus would take this 4-0 because I thought Whirlwind Wildcats forfeited this week, and I thought they would have roster troubles again.
Wait, I have a question real quick.
Sure.
Yes.
Did Odin is playing World War Wildcats? Was that last week's game?
That happened tonight. Yeah.
That happened tonight.
Was that last week's game tonight?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was so confused.
It was last week tonight on Tranquility. So that's why the records were sort of weird. So
I was so confused for a second because I thought we just messed up the matchups. I got so confused.
It's Ragnarok Odin won 4-0 against the Whirlwind Wildcats tonight, and that was a week 2 matchup. They'll go to their week 3 matchup this week.
Cool. I'm not confused anymore.
Yep. And speaking of Odin, the final match of the Indigo A is Shockwave versus Ragnarok Odin. And all of us are in agreement here that Ragnarok Odin is going to continue their streak and win here against Shockwave. We do have very different map scores. Booth thinks it's going to go to map 5. Me and Navino think that Odin is going to get it done in 4. So definitely very interesting scores here. And I'm interested to see how these matches play out in general.
And Ragnarok Odin's 2-0. That's a mistake on my part there at the graphic.
You wouldn't know till tonight, so
yeah, you wouldn't have known until literally
very true.
An hour ago.
I was staring at the tournament page, trying to work in my head. I'm like, what? Why haven't they played yet? I didn't realize they haven't played yet. So okay, that we only have one group left here. We have Indigo B here for the Transcendence tier. So I'm going to break down this last group here for us. And there's not much to break down. Look at all these scores. We have a complete unison across the board here for Skybox versus Decapitators. We have 0-4, the 4-0 there for the Decapitators. Not too much to say there. There was just a discussion if Smugs is going to be MVP candidate on the DPS role for the Decapitators. So pretty clear why they are at the top there. Decapitators currently sitting in 3rd. Skybox having a rough go at it so far, and last haven't gotten a map pickup yet. And then we go to Not Your Average Academy versus Cobalt. Both kind of sitting in the lower group here, and Yaw tied for 3rd place with the Decapitators. Cobalt currently sitting in 5th. All of us going 3-1 here for Not Your Average Academy, continuing on with their streaks. And then our final matchup of the week, the one I'm most excited about, and I know we talked about on the podcast here, we have the Bird Society Ibis versus Alpha, both undefeated teams here in Indigo B, definitely the front runners in the group. But 4-0 here is for Alpha from Navino and I, and then Bowsy giving a map at least to Bird Society Ibis here. But all of us in unison about how we think this group's going to turn out. And I think this is kind of similar to the Wildfire Lotus matchup we had in the Discord tier. This isn't speaking to Bird Society Ibis as much as it's speaking to Alpha. They're so dominant. It's going to be really difficult for any team to really give them a run for their money. I think Ibis is definitely the team that's going to give them the most run for their money in this group. But after seeing how Alpha did last week against the Decapitators, it's just hard to predict against them here.
It's just like Ibis played Nia and Cobalt, who are both just looking like not top teams in the group, while Alpha has a win versus Decapitators. As I said in the podcast, Ibis hasn't been challenged. At least I don't think they've been challenged. And so until they're challenged, I'm just Alpha. It's their group to lose. Yeah, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Let's put it this way: they did win against the Decapitators, or preseason champions. They didn't just win; they swept them. They swept them 4-0. You don't just sweep the preseason champions and go out unscathed, thinking people think you're going to lose. I think Alpha is going to be taking this, but I think Bird Society Ibis is going to give them the most run for their money because Ibis is a team to be feared. So I think it's going to be a close match, but I think it's going to be Alpha winning it.
Well, we will see. That is our final prediction here of the night. That is 36 matches, 36 up, 36 down. Thank you, of course, to Bowsy and Avino for stepping in today. Please, everybody, go into the podcast discussion, fill out that Google form. I want to see your guys' predictions. I will be posting a way for you guys to see your scores from the previous weeks, and then we'll be updating that on our next broadcast, so a week from today. I believe that is the 6th after the Iris podcast. I'll be going into the top performers each week. We'll be going into who has leading the overall scoreboard so far in not only the community, but the content creation team for their predictions. I'll go over how accurate our hosts have been in the previous weeks, including the first week with K-Wing, NPC, and Capital. Capitable.
Capitable.
I mean,
he is capitable, so.
That's a good one. I might have to change his name.
I
have permission to do that in the server. I might as well take advantage just from the admin views while I can. And then, of course, I'll talk about Bowsy, myself, and Apathy scores from week 2, and then, of course, our 3 scores from this week. So we'll probably be having a little bit longer broadcast here in the future as we go in more in depth with these pick'em scores. But make sure you guys tune in this week for our featured matches. We have Squall versus Sky Guardians tomorrow night, followed by the Coach's Corner directly after the featured match is completed with Juggle God. You don't want to miss any of that. And then on Wednesday, at our 9:30 delayed broadcast time, you're going to see Shockwave versus Ragnarok Odin, one of the matches we were talking about here tonight. That's, of course, going to be live on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we have Chicago Chaos versus Excalibur. That is going to be at 8:30, and directly after that, we're going to have the Beat Drop premiering as well. You don't want to miss any of this new content. People put a lot of time and effort in the back here. Captain Jack and Juggle God and NPC, Mr. Yeti, all of the hosts of our broadcast have been putting in lots of time in the back work to get these new shows going. So make sure you guys aren't missing those at all. But that's going to wrap it up here for us on Predicting Tranquility. Thank you guys all so much for being with us. And we hope to see you guys next week. Make sure you tune in after the Iris podcast every Monday night here with Tranquility. So I've been Booth, and for Bowsy and Navino, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.